Give you that report. We have some breaking news to get to right now. There is a pursuit underway. From what we understand, this is due to a stolen vehicle. And if we are zooming in here, and producers, help me on where we are right now, but we are pushing in on this SUV. There you see, it's a gold-colored SUV. This is in Temple City, trying to get word on what freeway this is. But you see it started as a pursuit with the Sheriff's Department, and then I think I'm trying to figure out if that is still the Sheriff's Department or hasn't moved over to the CHP. But the good news is it's a Highway Patrol. Okay, so the Highway Patrol has taken over this pursuit, but it started with the Sheriff's Department. They are now going into Monterey Park. The speeds aren't too fast right now, as you can see, as they are far over into the carpool lane, and the SUV is just kind of trucking along. There isn't a whole lot of traffic, as you can see, and we don't know a whole lot about the theft or who is inside that vehicle. Part of the concern, of course, is the tinted windows that are right there. There you see a CHP car that is driving by quickly. Not sure what they're going to do, but perhaps they were trying to get a look inside. They are moving ahead. Maybe they're going to do a traffic stop. We don't know. There's a sheriff's helicopter overhead as well. They are part of this pursuit as they stay on top of this. Again, what we understand was this was said to be a stolen vehicle found. The pursuit was underway on the northbound 101 in East Los Angeles interchange, and then went to the 60 freeway. That was when it was with the Sheriff's Department. It has then transferred over now to the CHP. And right now, we are on the freeway as we continue to watch this pursuit as they figure out how to approach this vehicle. The good news is it's not too dangerous right now, not an excessive rate of speed, as you can see. And there is surprisingly, no traffic to be seen right now. And this is a Friday evening, which is very rare here in Southern California. Fridays are usually one of the worst days. But again, remind me of where they are, Christy, on the freeway. Okay, this is Monterey Park the 10 freeway. Okay, the 10 freeway, Monterey Park, this SUV, we don't know a whole lot more about it at this point, except that they did go to surveillance mode for a while, and they didn't see a whole lot of erratic behavior when it comes to this. But now the pursuit is back on. The black and whites are behind it. The CHP this time. You did see that the vehicle did move over to the right-hand lanes, not going at a high rate of speed. Is this vehicle going to get off the freeway? We're not sure, so we're going to continue to watch this situation. The 10 freeway is where they are going through Monterey Park. So if you're familiar with that area, usually that is one of those more congested areas, but not today on this Friday evening at 6 o'clock in the evening. Colleen Sullivan is now joining me right now as we continue on to this pursuit. Look, there's nothing ahead, Colleen, which is so it's really odd. But maybe that unit that we saw move on ahead, perhaps they are doing some sort of a traffic stop or getting people off the freeway. I'm not sure, but there's nothing there. So this is really interesting. They are moving off the freeway now. We'll try to get an idea on what exit this is, and we'll watch this vehicle. Not quite sure what the vehicle is. But started to get off, now getting back on the freeway. Free reign, though. Almost all the lanes are open as they go through the Monterey Park area. 10 freeway right now.
Dallas Reigns, who knows a lot about cars, says this is a Durango. But
a Durango.
Yeah, and we know these are gas guzzlers, and we have been seeing the driver not making many erratic moves as this pursuit, as we've been following this pursuit. And again, you just mentioned it, that they've gone in and out of tracking mode, but it's always oh, well, David, I think we're speaking too soon. We're starting to see a little bit of volume on the freeway. Obviously, if that driver were to get all the way over to the left and get into the fast lane, they would probably be clear. But we're obviously trying to see exactly where they were going. They were in Monterey Park on the 10, but
yeah, we're entering now East LA, 10 freeway. He's tried to exit a couple of times, and is he behind that wall? Yeah, he's gone very slow. There he is.
Oh. Maybe he's
and
pulling over.
he's on actually the shoulder of the exit right there. That's really not a lane, and he has come to a stop. You can see there's nothing really ahead of him. Now he's making a fairly dynamic move. That's one of the more aggressive moves we've seen, which isn't all that big of a deal, really. But he went forward. The other folks did stop. This seems to be some sort of an interchange here. And he's getting in the right-hand lane, so he's going to take a right. We're trying to figure out exactly what this exit is in the East LA area, but certainly he is going to be in traffic now and on surface streets. But let me remind you that we have not seen him behave in a really erratic way. Again, this is a stolen vehicle, a reported stolen vehicle, and Colleen, you said Dallas thinks it's a Durango of some sort. It seems like a fairly sizable SUV. He really wants to go. You see him jumping ahead there.
And, I'm wondering how many police officers or police cruisers are behind this, because you know how tricky it is, obviously, for law enforcement to do these chases. If they get too dangerous, they go back into that tracking mode where then you just have the helicopter overhead just monitoring the car's location. But you can see those two. David, I'm not sure of now if it's LAPD or if it's still the CHP, because the CHP was following them, but we know it's very well choreographed between all the jurisdictions of where these pursuits are taking place. And obviously,
I'm getting some word that we think both front tires might be flat, and it does look that way. That might account for some of the swimming that you're seeing of this vehicle is kind of swinging back and forth. If both front tires are flat, then it makes you think that they probably hit this with a spike strip of some sort. Certainly that front driver's side tire is flat, and we're being told that the other one on the passenger side also appears to be flat. So that's going to be some problems in maneuverability. And as he continues on surface streets, it makes you wonder then, if they have an opportunity, could they do a pit maneuver on him? Although that's obviously too narrow right there, but he's moving slowly, and there's only so fast he's going to be able to go with some control of this vehicle. But certainly those the tires are flat. A spike strip is more than likely what they hit him with. Yeah,
and you know, it's always interesting to see what, you know, obviously a possible stolen vehicle, but many times these are like possibly connected to other investigations that they're looking into. So it's not always just the stolen vehicle. Sometimes they are connected to other crimes that they think somebody may be suspected of committing. But we'll see.
Yeah, they'll steal a vehicle, use that stolen vehicle to commit a burglary or a robbery or some sort, and that way they're untrackable. But that is the case here when it comes to this being a stolen vehicle, tinted windows, so it's tough to see how many people are inside this vehicle. It is sizable. There's a push-in from Air 7, and you can see tinted in the back, too. We're in Lincoln Heights right now as this vehicle kind of meanders through the streets with flat tires, for sure on the driver's side. Yeah, the left side, the passenger side does look a bit flat up front, or at least really low.
I'm not sure. I can't really make out if it's just because the vantage point that we're at. The back tire obviously is not, but you know, when the car's going that slowly, it makes it all the tires look like they're a little wonky. But it looks like it is flat.
Yeah, I think
David.
it's flat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
when you
is
see
that okay? Watch for a pit maneuver here. This could be an ideal spot. He's not going too fast. They're certainly set up for it. Looks like they might do it. Yeah, they're okay. A pit maneuver. Not super aggressive there, but they did turn it a little bit. It didn't work. Now you can see the back tires kind of spinning out there. He's trying to get away. He's in the oncoming lanes. Keep that in mind. So oncoming traffic. Now he's moved over. They may try this again because he's not really moving very fast. Now with two flat tires, it's debatable at how much maneuvering he can actually do here. So it is a fairly large open street, and we'll try to get word on what street that is.
Actually, East Los Angeles, eastbound on Fishburne.
Fishburne.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Fishburne Street, and as you can see, it looks like a fairly industrial area there, a fairly open street, not moving fast. Could they do a pit maneuver again? And a properly executed pit maneuver can often stall the engine out. They kind of flip the back end. It'll flip, not over, but flip to the side, and sometimes the engine stalls out. and that will allow officers then to make the arrest because he can't keep going, or he could choose to get out and run.
And by the way, we've now changed on to Fowler. We're still in East Los Angeles just a moment ago on Fowler, but also, David, what is that? I can't make it out.
They're trying to give us a street lane. I couldn't quite read it.
Couldn't get it too quick.
Yeah.
But we've also noticed sometimes if the front tires were not actually flat, sometimes these pit maneuvers or just that little extra touch from law enforcement vehicle to the suspect vehicle sometimes really accelerates them into being very aggressive and driving really erratically and fast. But the good thing is you don't really see anybody outside. This isn't a residential neighborhood where you see people walking their animals or with their children. I mean, 6 o'clock on a Friday evening, a beautiful fall night. This is.
He's barely moving.
He really
okay,
is.
so he's on Medford. He just crossed Knowles. Here's another street he's crossing. We'll get to the name of that. But, well, you could see a lot of donuts in that intersection right there.
Yeah, I was going to say, that is a street takeover area, that's for sure.
Okay, so he is not moving quickly. CHP doesn't seem to aggressively wanting to make a pit maneuver here, even though he's moving slowly. There's some folks at the light here, so he could have some traffic pretty soon unless they hold those folks, and they're just kind of watching him. He's not moving quickly at all. In fact, I would guess under the speed limit, which is a good thing, so other people in the neighborhood aren't in danger. Now smoking on that passenger side tire, so that's confirmation. That tire definitely is flat along with the driver's side tire, so now it's scraping, starting to smoke, and we're going to see the rubber start coming off that thing pretty soon. So his situation is getting worse when it comes to his ability to get away and maneuver. Not sure what's going on in the driver's mind here. I'm sure trying to figure out what to do, but clearly they're not going to get away at this point. They just can't move fast enough any longer. So the CHP is there right behind them. This started with the Sheriff's Department as a stolen vehicle, and then they transferred it over when it was on the freeway. But now off to surface streets now in East Los Angeles. He just turned off of Medford Street. I don't know if that's still Medford, southbound Eastern, and it looks like he's taking a left. I don't know if this is an entry ramp or just a bridge. Getting back on the freeway as that passenger side tire just completely disintegrates. Yes. There it goes. Now he's on the rim. I don't know what the driver's side tire looks like, but there's no way he's going to be able to maneuver that thing on steel and on the asphalt, Colleen.
No.
And I imagine, though, that the driver's side tire, even though we haven't seen that come off, it can't be too much better.
No, and it has got to be so hard to maneuver this large vehicle. How they're doing it on these rims, I just do not know.
Yeah, this could be a real problem. Eastbound 10 now is where they are in East LA. There's going to be traffic here, as you can see, really slowing down. Again, even though this person refuses to give up and has lost its front driver's side tire and is on the verge of losing its, passenger side tire, it's on the verge of losing its driver's side tire.
Off-road, right? Well, not off-road, but over the median right there. And
let's see what they do. Could they possibly give up? No, they're not giving up. All right, so they are elevated now on, there's some sort of a median.
And then they have a curb that they have to go down as well. So it's not as they're trying to get away from traffic.
You could see him turning, but it's not turning.
No, you can
see
right
that?
There. See, that's
he's losing control of the vehicle. He was literally trying to turn left, yet the vehicle was going right. And keep in mind, it's off balance now because it has tread. Stay with us. We'll get the signal back. It has tread on the driver's side, but no tread on the passenger side. So as a result, here's video real quickly. This is the pit maneuver that they tried to do. And it was not real aggressive. He wasn't moving quickly, but he does a little tap here. He turns the vehicle, and a lot of times when you turn hard enough, the vehicle will stall out. It didn't happen on this one. He kept on going.
Yeah.
The good news is, though, the vehicle is falling apart now. And back to his inability to maneuver it, you could see him steering the thing to the right, but to the left, but it's going right because there is tread on the driver's side front tire, but not on the passenger side.
Well, we know they're now transitioning to the northbound 710 as the driver is absolutely not willing to try to give themselves up. But now you can see the CHP doing that S formation. Anybody who's been behind this knows that means your freeway is about to come to a stop.
Yeah, they're keeping people back.
And it's obviously for their safety, but it's hard to see that happen when it's a Friday evening and you're trying trying to get to your home or trying to get to your plans, or pick
Look at
your
this.
children from babysitters or what have you.
As a result, wide open
Look
here.
at this. Yeah.
A wide open area. They seem content on not doing another pit maneuver. There goes the tread on the driver's side. So this is going to get really ugly. We've seen this before where you'll see somebody just insistent on driving on rims, and then it becomes a fire hazard because it'll start throwing some sparks, and eventually you do see the vehicle catch on fire. But losing that tread is going to make it even less maneuverable. There's very little this driver could do at this point.
No, it is. And it's also somewhat unusual too, David, is many times when we see the cars kind of slowing down, having these issues, they're in neighborhoods, and they'll kind of constantly circle back to the same area that's familiar. But this driver does not seem like they are going back like to their central area. They're kind of going everywhere,
Okay, we have Bruce Thomas with us, our law enforcement specialist who has helped us with pursuits in the past. And hi, Bruce, how are you? Thank you for joining us. And we just saw that the front two tires, no tread at all. I'm sure it got hit with a spike strip somewhere along the way. But now that that has happened, what do you think is going to happen next?
Well, you do have the spike strip was deployed. It was successful. It has deflated the two tires. The passenger front is on the rim, and the other one on the driver's side is getting there. You have a very big vehicle, an SUV, that is rear-wheeled. So at this point, this guy's just going to keep going until the rims either lock up or just disintegrate.
Well, they have disintegrated in the front, Bruce, but I don't know, obviously you're trained in driving these cars that would be inoperable to most of us. But again, is that saying because it's rear wheel that they're going to have more control because they have the wheels on the back? And because I don't know how they're going to be able to navigate this.
Yeah, as far as control, the driver has less control because the front steers the vehicle, as we all know, and the back powers the vehicle. In this case, you have a vehicle which has a lot of horsepower. It's a vehicle that tows other things. So I think it's a Dodge Durango maybe. So it weighs a lot more. I don't know if a pit maneuver is appropriate because of the size of this vehicle.
Maybe that's why they backed off of trying that again. We understand that this is the end of the 710 freeway, so he has to go left or right. He is obviously heading right. He hasn't, and we haven't seen him go at a high rate of speed, and it hasn't been that dangerous of a pursuit. Of course, obviously the behavior, the fact that he won't stop, the fact that he's driving on rims makes it dangerous enough. You can't see inside the vehicle. That's another hazard as well. But is this a situation, since the vehicle is compromised, is this something that we just sit and wait?
Yeah, we don't want the vehicle to go to higher speeds because the driver will have basically no control. It's kind of, I'll use the analogy of driving on ice. So they want to keep speeds low. CHP is trained in the pit maneuver, and I think at this point they're just going to kind of wait him or her out, as we really don't know what the driver is at this point.
Yeah, we're seeing still some debris falling from
and we do have an update, though, on the location. We're now in Alhambra. We're eastbound on Valley Boulevard, and obviously they're encountering some traffic, and that's where we saw this driver lose a little bit of control. You can see cars trying to pull over to the side because they obviously see the police cruisers behind this car. But again, in Alhambra on eastbound Valley Boulevard. And Bruce, while this driver is now taking city streets, what do you think the thought process goes into the chase now?
Well, CHP through mutual aid has contacted Alhambra. You see the sheriff's helicopter, which just flew through the scene. So that's all under mutual aid. So Alhambra PD is in the area in case when this suspect or suspects decide to foot bail, they're ready to swoop down on them. CHP is really not familiar with city streets, so they may at some point turn this over to the local agency. But at this point, they just want to keep it low speed and keep it as safe to the general public as they can.
What are some of the hazards here, the dangers that we're dealing with? We understand that often vehicles are stolen by people who are burglary rings, so they could use these vehicles and they remain undetected. This is a large vehicle, as you said. It has tinted windows. There could be multiple people inside. We just don't know. So what are the contingencies that they're prepared for here?
Well, what they have is Plan A, B, and C. Plan A is to do the felony traffic stop, where they'll call the driver out of the vehicle and subsequently any other passengers. Plan B is that maybe the guy doesn't give up, and now they have a barricade situation. And Plan C is that he takes off further, and they have to reinitiate a more dangerous pursuit. So they're planning on all these things.
Yeah, they certainly are. Another update, we are still in Alhambra, but we are going southbound on Fremont. So again, while we kind of keep watching this driver, not a very high-speed pursuit. We've also been noticing that, but there's obviously a large gathering right there.
It looks like kids at the park watching a movie or something, maybe.
Their blankets are out and everything. You see that big
well,
projector.
they're just luckily just passing on by.
Kidding.
Keep going here. And then there's a great shot right there of the rim of the passenger side. It looks the same on the driver's side. So this vehicle is a bit of a mess right now. And you know, we have seen some of these pursuits, Bruce. They try to get into a parking garage where they're undetectable when it comes to the helicopter, et cetera. This guy is not going to get anywhere with this vehicle the way it is he?
Yeah, I don't think Alhambra, at least in that general area, having been there, I don't think they have those type of parking garages like they do downtown, which, as you pointed out, David, they have gone in those things and then become lost to law enforcement. I think at this point, this vehicle is just going to have to start disintegrating more. And because it's a heavier vehicle, these rims might be at a heavier quality, a heavy caliber.
Yeah.
So that just be causing a little bit of issues for law enforcement.
Well, that could be. Yeah. So in other words, they may last longer than we had hoped.
Yeah, unfortunately, you do have rush hours, so the speeds are lower, which is good for public safety.
No kidding. And the driver, David, again, we've been noticing the driver has not been making many erratic moves. So that at least puts people, the community, at kind of at peace there, as opposed to them flying where you're just holding your breath the whole time. Weirdly, this is a very gentle pursuit so far. It hasn't been weaving in, going into oncoming traffic or anything like that. Just driving, but clearly this person does not want to pull over. And you can't see inside. You do not know how many people are inside this vehicle.
Yeah, and stopping could be a real issue too with the vehicle on rims. And we don't know. It's hard to tell if it's running stoplights and stop signs or not, but I'm seeing it go through successive intersections without slowing down or stopping. And that could be eventually an issue on this street. Again, we are in Alhambra. You can see there's a lot of folks out about driving around in the Alhambra area, but luckily this guy is keeping it slow.
Yeah, heading towards Garvey, by the way. We're getting told by our producers, letting us know
Garvey.
Sort of, the movements of the car or this SUV of this pursuit. So heading still on Fremont, but heading towards Garvey.
Okay.
And a popular area, obviously.
Yeah, in a neighborhood as well. So you could see that there's homes on the left-hand side and the right-hand side. So it's a well-populated area here on Garvey and Alhambra. And this person going very slowly. We don't know what's going on the inside. Obviously, maybe that person is on the phone talking to somebody, negotiating something. We're not sure. Nevertheless, I guess the CHP, Bruce, is just going to stay on top of this. Maybe there will be a transfer someday or some moment.
There might be if he continues on the streets. As Alhambra PD is in the area, sheriffs are monitoring also through the mutual aid on the helicopter. What you may see also is CHP may decide when the area is right, meaning a wide open street, not with a lot of cars on it, a good operational area, to do another pit maneuver. And the reason I say that is CHP has gone to bigger vehicles.
Okay.
So it may out.
They may be able to handle that, a large vehicle like this. Well, they did try it that one time, and it looked like they were going to get it. So maybe they'll try it again, especially at these speeds, because you need a slower speed, don't you, to operate a pit maneuver?
Yeah, ideally a lower speed is ideal because you can hit the vehicle, and it is hitting the vehicle. It's an accident. Controlled. Spin it out of control so the engine shuts off, or it's been pushed in an area that it can't operate, and then you force your vehicle against that vehicle to pin them in. But it is a controlled accident. It does take some practice.
Right. So that's an example of how difficult it is to see in that vehicle. So we pushed in the driver, but you could barely see anything at all, just very slight movement, but it's tinted all the way around. And I imagine, Bruce, that's part of the reason why some of these tents are illegal.
Yeah, because, the old adage, what sane person would walk on a vehicle at 2:30 in the morning and do a traffic stop? Well, that's why we don't have tinted windows, so we as police officers can see inside the vehicle and not, walk up on a vehicle. I hate to use the word afraid, but with a heightened sense of alertness. Yeah.
Absolutely. But again, you can't really see inside this vehicle at all. I can't even see really in the dash, the windshield as well. It's really hard to make out any activity inside this vehicle. Sometimes you really see erratic hand gestures or them talking on the phone or what have you. But this, you can't. David, can you make anything out in the front of this? I haven't been able to.
No, I can't see anything. And clearly, they're holding off and doing a pit maneuver. They're not going to do a pit maneuver. But Bruce, what about perhaps hitting it with another spike to get the back tires? Is that a possibility, and does that help the situation?
Yeah, very much so, because now you'll have deflated the rear too, and so in essence you're riding on rims, which means the vehicle may not have the traction that it needs. So we may see a second deployment of a spike strip, provided that he or she drives along the same type of streets often enough where they can put that out.
Yeah, there's a good, the tread is barely hanging on the driver's side, and most of it is gone. So yeah, this is a mess. It would be interesting to see them try a spike, and just to get this to come to a conclusion, as those back tires are doing all the work, and if they lose those, then clearly, yeah, there's not a whole lot left.
Yeah, the vehicle is it's a larger, heavier vehicle, and so that may be working for the suspect, as the vehicle has the torque in the engine to drive those rims.
Look at the people outside of their houses again. Obviously, clearly they are monitoring the pursuit themselves. Not sure if this person knows this area because they are back in Monterey Park. They were northbound on Vagabond, but I think that they made a little turn. So they're very close to this area. But yeah, we can see that this is a residential area.
Yeah, clearly. Narrow streets. Bear with us as we kind of figure this out. It's right behind on that street. So this is an elevated, the houses you see in the front here, it's an elevated hillside. There's the pursuit right below it on the hill, downhill from those houses you see in the foreground.
This is on a Bajo, by the way.
A Bajo, okay. Yeah. So very tight. You see the folks are aware of this pursuit. They know it's going through their neighborhood. They're coming out to look at it. A total residential area right now. And there's that hillside I was talking about on the left-hand side. So this vehicle is kind of winding through this neighborhood. I haven't seen any redundancy in the driving of this vehicle. I don't know if this is a strange area for the driver or if they know this area, but we haven't seen them repeating like we often see in some pursuits where they kind of like to stay in an area that they know well. This guy doesn't seem to be backtracking at all. Looks like
yeah, the other thing, David, if you look at if Air 7 HD pulls out wider, you notice there's 3 CHP vehicles, but behind it, there is a parade of citizen vehicles behind it, which is going to cause a problem for officers.
Oh, boy. Is it possible they're just trying to get to their homes, or are they actually following this thing? That would be something. And there's a family out for a walk, watching this situation, noticing the car on rims and the CHP after it. I'm sure it's lights and sirens, right, to give people an idea and a warning that they're coming.
Yeah, and the other thing too is, like we were talking about, is he's on a residential street, and he's going up in the hills. Does this dead end? Does it have a cul-de-sac? And are those people just trying to get home, and this is the only way in and the only way out?
Right.
Right. That's the problem. I mean, because you would like to assume they are just trying to get home. I can't. But again, I don't want to.
Okay, so Let me just say this real quickly. We are quickly approaching 6:30 p.m., so our live coverage of this police pursuit continues on our ABC7 streaming channel. You could watch live right now on our website, on your phone, on your connected TV, anywhere you stream ABC7 Los Angeles.
And here on TV, we are going to turn things over to David Muir for World News Tonight. Again, join us back here tonight for Eyewitness News at 11 p.m. for an update on this pursuit and all the rest of the breaking news that we cover this evening.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Yeah, no problem. You got it.
Bruce, yes. All right, you're watching our live streaming newscast at 6:30 right now. This is an end of a pursuit. This is happening in Monterey Park. You can see the driver was driving kind of in circles in this area on a Bajo in Monterey Park. And now the police, they really kind of cornered this person because they must not know this area very well because they went into a cul-de-sac. Their front rims they're on rims basically in the front tires because they hit a spike strip earlier and they just hit another spike strip. Now you can see, what is this driver going to do? Are they going to get out of the car? Are they going to keep police trying with their guns drawn? Also joining us during this pursuit is Bruce Thomas. He's also a law enforcement expert. He joins us many, many times on pursuits. Bruce, I'm not sure if you can see what's happening, but the Highway Patrol has continued with this despite it being in Monterey Park. And you can see that they are right up against this vehicle that they have been pursuing for at least an hour or so on reports of a stolen vehicle. So what is going on now? We can see that they are radioing, obviously. Ooh, what's that he pulled out? Do you see that, Bruce? He pulled out something that looked like a long stick. Are you there? Ooh.
What we thought may
Oh, he's
happen
breaking the
is
windows, Bruce.
Oh, an asp. He's got an asp. They're going to break the windows out.
Yeah, they just did.
The vehicle. Yeah, that's an asp, which is like a baton. It's an expandable baton.
Yeah, I've never actually seen that. I know that sounds crazy, but I've never seen them pull out something like, oh, what's that? Oh, he's trying to go, Bruce. There's so much smoke coming from his tires right now. He's not going anywhere.
Yep. This guy does not want to give up. I hate to say it's going to end poorly, but at this point, there's obviously a lot of irrational
I've never
behavior
seen
by
this.
the driver.
I've never seen a
Yeah,
driver
so-
do this before, where they
Yeah,
just,
it's a rear-wheel drive vehicle, and he's trying to gun it. He's not going to get past CHP, which has pinned him, and they may put another car behind him so he doesn't reverse. He might be trying to do that also.
I would say he's got to be trying to do something. He's obviously, it's not working going forward. I would say that it looks like they're possibly, well, I don't know. It almost looks like they're above, where they're just a little bit lopsided there.